We're back 3 weeks in a row. Wow, 3 weeks in a row. Ooh. Exciting. We're back again to do the thing that we do all the time. We're happy that everyone's here. And sorry, I'm having some YouTube issues. There we go. We're back, and we're all here for the time being.
Yeah, that's not gonna last.
Not gonna last. But real quick, while everybody's here, we'll do introductions, and we will start. I'm just gonna pick a random box, and it'll be great. It's you.
Oh, it's me?
Danielle. Oh, can you not see that it's you? Sorry.
No, I see you. Like, because.
Oh, that's weird.
I was like, come on, give me something here. Now I see it. Sorry,
guys.
Hey, Danielle.
It's going great, and now I'm moving to not Jen. So there we go. So it's Karen.
Yep, Jen's gotta go. So I'll see you guys later.
Bye, Jen.
And she's leaving. Hi, Jen. Bye, Jen. Okay, great.
All right. This is about right.
And my YouTube that I'm trying to watch the comments in moved over to Family Feud for some reason. So that's great. It's going well, everybody. It's really going well. So we're back. We're going to talk about the last week's events. We're going to talk about things coming up. We actually have quite a bit of news and stuff.
We might
just want to remind everybody that Jen and I did do our panelist videos, so feel free to check them out. You can find them on the channel here. Also, Karen and Danielle will do theirs at some point. We'll make sure that we post the link for that when we get it done, when they're going to do them. So I know a lot of you sent questions in. We'll try to post in advance if you have any specific questions for Karen and Danielle when they're about to do theirs. We'll take those as well. Moving right along. Whew. So we're going to go last week's games. People will jump in. Hello to those of you who are watching us now. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you mucho. If you have any questions for us, again, as always, please let us know. The first game was on Friday. Utah Chicago 1-0 with a goal by Amy Rodriguez. Yay! I like that. That's super great. Always like to see that. I'll come back to that, but Katie Johnson got sent off. I guess, in my opinion, kind of questionably. Anyone else have thoughts on that? Karen's nodding. I'll go over, and Danielle made a face, so I'll go to both of you if you can add to that. I guess, in my opinion, kind of questionably. Oh, I'm delayed. Thoughts on that? Oh.
We got it. We're good now.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. Sorry.
On the Chicago game?
Yeah.
A lot of questionable calls from the referee, and that's always kind of a bummer when a game feels like it's decided on that. But for the most part, I think pretty interesting game. Pretty good matchup. I think Chicago and Utah, I don't know. They're two teams that I didn't really know what to expect from them at the beginning of the season. So I think that they're both kind of like finding their footing. So yeah, it was a pretty evenly matched game besides that Amy Rodriguez goal, which was pretty cool.
Right on. Danielle, any comments?
I mean, we talked last week about how Utah was pretty impressive so far this season. And I think we had mentioned this game was going to be the big question, just because a lot of the World Cup squad is starting to trickle out, and Chicago had more of their squad with them. So I think I didn't know what to expect from this game. I mean, it was a close game, so it was interesting, and I think I think it showed Utah is going to continue to be good throughout the summer. So I think it's hard to say that because obviously there's going to be more people losing, but looks like Laura Harvey has some plans, some tricks up her sleeve. Other than that, A-Rod goals are always great. I love that. Just like you guys were saying, it kind of just really sucks that the one red card and the one not call, were the big stories, because I think that it's always unfortunate when that happens.
Yeah.
For sure. Like you mentioned, we mentioned the card and there was a non-call. Looked like Sam Kerr kind of got mowed over in the box, nothing. So yeah, agreed. Kind of bummer when, you have a really close game, a good game, and then you're kind of like, oh, but what if?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one on both sides of me. Some people say, I don't know. So moving on though, perhaps shocking for me, I guess personally, Sky Blue and North Carolina had a scoreless draw, and I will say in big ups to Sheridan had another great game for Sky Blue, and Merritt Mathias legit just saved one. LeBay was kind of had some poor I would say poor positioning. That's my opinion, but right off the line, cleared it right off the line. So definitely saved one for the Courage. But I guess I don't know. I guess for me personally, I feel like North Carolina had a lot of opportunities that they could have and probably should have capitalized on. But that's just my opinion. Anyone else have thoughts on that game?
The story of their lives. They could beat teams like 16-0, but they don't capitalize as much as they could. Sky Blue, besides Sheridan, because she's always just on fire, they played really well. And that's all I really have to say. They played really well, and I was impressed with their performance. So good on them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danielle.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we talked about how Sky Blue is going to probably be the most interesting team over the summer because they are just, they're not losing as many players. So they have, while, they're still working through some problems from, the last couple of seasons,
Yeah.
I think that they have, an advantage in the sense that they can really work on their chemistry, that they can really work on, working together as a team to get wins. And if they continue playing really well, I think they're going to start beating teams they shouldn't. And hopefully this gets them on the right track. It's not going to solve all of their problems, of course, but I think that it will be great for team morale. I think it will be good for their fans. So I'm excited to see where they go this summer. North Carolina, I guess, you have to have cracks somewhere. So, at least they pulled out a point. They didn't lose. They're still undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess good and bad game, depending on how you look. But
yeah, I think good for Sky Blue to get the point. But I also just want to point out, I didn't actually go back and count how many games it is, but they still have not won a game in a really absurd amount of time.
Did they win the last game of the season?
Did they win the last game of the season? So maybe they won the last.
Wasn't that their only win?
I thought they got a draw. I don't know if they.
That was so long ago. So long ago.
We'll find that out before the end of the show. I'll try to look it up while someone else is talking. And
somebody will probably tell us.
Well, yeah, somebody who's out there watching, please tell us if Sky Blue won a game at the end of last season, because I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, they won September 8th, 2018, Carly Lloyd goal in the 73rd minute against the Orlando Pride.
All right, so I stand corrected. They did win.
It would be
season.
The Orlando Pride.
we're gonna talk about the Pride. All right, so I stand corrected. They did win a game towards the end of last season. So the winless drought is not as large as I had expected. So I stand corrected. Back.
Yeah, because it was like they won a championship when they got. I felt like it was. I felt as excited as I did. Well, no, maybe not, but I felt like they won a championship. So.
And Frogger Chico's got our back on that too. So thanks for backing us up on that. And we have a little bit of Sky Blue news. They made a pretty solid signing, which we'll get to at the end of the after we go through the rest of the game. So that's also something that could help them in the future. But we'll get to that in a minute. Next up, we have the Washington Spirit, and I will not call them the Seattle Reign. The Reign. That's gonna take some getting used to. Had a also scoreless draw. The folks, the goal of the week. Options were slim pickings this week. Another scoreless draw. My big talking point, I guess, for me is Aubrey Bledsoe, because like basically stood on her head and made 9 humongous saves, which were awesome. And I will still give credit to Betos too, who didn't have quite as many saves, but still had what I would consider a significant number of saves to keep it scoreless. So very much, I guess, kind of a battle of goalkeepers in that regard. On that end, I mean, it's I would say improvement. I would say for the Spirit, I'm not a Reign expert, so it's hard for me to really comment on them. Karen, shaking your head, we'll go to you in a minute. But I think, compared to last season, I think the Spirit are looking a little bit more cohesive and upbeat and got a little bit more pep in their step. But Karen, shaking your head, you want to talk about Seattle? Seattle. I did it again. The Reign.
It's okay.
So sorry.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. The Reign. We comment on the Reign.
Yeah. I don't really know what's happening, but it's not pretty. At least it's only 3 games. 3 games. They're trying to get their footing still. But it's not. There's no chemistry. There's no finishing. It doesn't look like the team that I think the fans are used to watching. So it's like excruciating. I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't. It just feels different and kind of like bad. So we'll see if they can connect and start, I don't know, having some chemistry and actually scoring some goals. But I think at this point they have only scored 1 goal in 3 games, and that's really not great at all. It's actually very bad. So we'll see how that goes. I will say that I would like to see more Balser on the pitch. I think when she comes on, she actually provides more of a spark to the team. And I'm wondering if it's maybe just a lack of Rapinoe and Fishlock, because Fishlock is kind of like that spine in the center, and the person who usually does a lot of the attacking work. And then Rapinoe is she's Rapinoe. She pulls a goal out of nowhere, and you're like, thank you. But it's bad if there's 2 players missing and the team can't figure out their shit. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, because, I mean, Fishlock's going to be back end of May because she's playing in Lyon. But Rapinoe's going to be gone for most of the season. So good luck, I guess, if that's who you're going to be depending on. So I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But good job, Washington Spirit. They actually played a really good game. So that was exciting for them, I think, and their fans.
Right on, Danielle. Anything you got for this one?
Okay, you weren't here last week, so you didn't hear me reassure people. Vlatko's team starts slow. Trust me, I have dealt with it. We started, FCKC started slow both years we won the title. So I'm not saying, but that is a very characteristic trait of Vlatko's teams. I hope that it's not because of the 2 players, because I think that he's a better coach than that to, depend on 2 players, especially in a World Cup year. It's not his first season during a World Cup year. So I'm hoping that it's just them trying to get to know each other, new surroundings, new city, stuff like that. So we'll see. Hopefully, for your sake at least, they start putting it together. In terms of the Washington Spirit, I think Bledsoe's the best keeper in the league right now.
Yep.
Mm.
I don't think that. I know that basically.
Yep.
I'll say that. You know, she's constantly having these performances, and I just so impressed. And I'm really, really happy that she. This is going to sound mean, but I don't mean it to sound mean. I'm really glad she got out of Orlando. I think that she was never going to get her chance there. I think, you know, culture stuff that we're guessing aside, she was a number 2 behind a, you know, national team keeper. So I think getting out of the Pride was the best thing that could happen to her. And I hope that she continues staying the strong, because it's really fun to watch. And, you know, I think Spirit fans also deserve this. So.
And lastly, Houston beat Orlando 1-0 with a Kealia Ohai goal. I'm just, again, I gave credit to Houston because Houston seemed like they were in a better place than they were last year, and you know, they put it together to get the win. You know, I think that seems better as far as cohesiveness and you know what's going on, a better relationship with coaching and staff and whatnot. And I think it's going well. And then I'm glad that they're getting like the points and the results out of it. Seems like it's a better situation. I'm not going to say a lot. Going a little longer than I thought we probably would be at this point because we just like to talk. But that's all I'm going to say on that. Karen, you have anything you want to add?
No, that's okay.
Okay,
I'm
Danielle.
Orlando, what is Orlando? Zero shots on goal? 90 minutes? That's unacceptable. Like, that's not okay. You have what? Why? Huh? Okay, that's it. I just wanted to
I just want to add that I saw, just real quick, I saw a lot of things on the internet, like Twitter, saying that, that looked much better from Orlando, and like Marta looks better than, you know, starting to look more like herself, and that's great and everything, but if you have 0 shots on goal, like, okay, that's it. So those are the games. So going to talk about some other league news real quick. As we know, Barcelona wanted to get into the U.S. women's game, bring a team on over here. Clearly, Karen's not a fan of that. I don't have an opinion personally, and Danielle can weigh in for herself. Little snafu. Just the real quick lowdown. Barcelona has a sponsorship with Nike through 2023. The league sponsorship with Nike ends like next year or something like that. So obviously at that point the league could change sponsors, and like the teams would also change sponsors, and that's causing an issue because Barcelona's like, we don't want to change sponsors. We can't. We have a contract to 2023. Please exempt us from this. And I think that that's not cool. My opinion only. Play by the rules, I guess, if you want to come in. But any other thoughts about that?
I mean, same. That's my exact problem, is that they think that they're all high and mighty and they can just like ram on into the NWSL and like not follow the rules, and that's not how this is gonna work. Sorry. And you know, like, I'm the loudest proponent for an LA team because I actually want to watch NWSL like in person for once, but not like that. I don't want my team to be a Barcelona team if that's what they're gonna do. So,
Danielle, thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. I am trying to put on the, you know, look at both sides, and
Right.
it would be nice, especially having that money, having all that, and you know, heck, I can't necessarily blame them for trying to push around the league when, again, there are like 3 people who work for the league, so I would do it too. So it's tough because are we in a position right now where we can just like, no, we don't need you. But in the same token, you know, when it comes to LA teams, I've said it many times before, there are better options even for LA. I mean, come on. I'll say it every week until it happens. Mia's got to be close, right? She's got to. Like, what's the point if she's not close to getting them in? Like, what's the actual point? I mean, I guess it is for the men's, you know, the point would be that they have a men's squad. But come on.
Yeah. She was like, all of her interviews, everybody's always asking her, and she's like, we're working on it. We just want to do it right. And it's like, that's
Mhm.
fine. I can wait like 2 years or something, as long as it's just do it though. Just
Mhm.
do it. Thanks.
That's just do it. The irony there.
Oh,
Saying that. Ooh, punny.
Sponsorships are silly.
Yeah.
I guess it goes into a thing where it's above my pay grade. You know, you have stuff where obviously there's Gatorade, and is Body Armor still a league sponsor? Like,
I don't know, because with Spears with
Because
Gatorade now,
Spears.
so
so I
Right,
think
right.
you know, there are times where sponsorship doesn't necessarily dictate individual stuff that happens in leagues across the world. That happens with individual players. Nike's a sponsor.
Right.
You have Adidas athletes. Obviously, teams versus athletes are different, but it happens all the time. So I'm hoping people can just be grown-ups with it. But, you know, that doesn't happen with sports.
there are no grown-ups in sports.
Nope.
Right on. So if you're out there, making sure my chat's not broken.
Nope, they're just quiet today.
All right, which is cool. That's fine. But if you have any, you know, if you're maybe new here, or, you know, don't usually participate in the chat, anything to say to us, we are live. We do read the chat live. So if you
We're
want,
live unless you're watching this later.
right, unless you're watching it later, but you can comment still. Leave us a comment, and we'll, you know, come back to you. I'll take note of it. But feel free to weigh in on any of the things we're talking about as we go along. But, you know, even if you don't want to participate, we thank you very much for watching. Right on. Follow-up league news, mentioned it briefly in the Sky Blue section, that we heard this week that they have signed a new defender. I'm going to say her name both ways for people who are pronunciation purists, or like German, or, you know, whatever. Not, yeah. Gina, either Lewandowski or Lewandowski, depending on how you like to pronounce it. I personally don't know how she pronounces it, but I think that's exciting. I think that's she spent pretty much her whole basically professional career in Germany. Just wrapped up a really long stint with Bayern Munich, and electing to come play in the NWSL. So she's definitely a veteran player, and I think you know, I think it's a really solid pick for Sky Blue. Any, you know, comments on that? Other than that, solid pick. Yay!
Awesome. Good for them.
I think it's going to be good, and especially having, you know, more veterans, especially during the summer when Carly's not there.
Yes.
No, I'm not a Carly fan, but I will say she is a veteran. So, you know, having her. Okay, I'm not going to get myself in trouble, but I'm the worst because I don't follow Byron at all, and so I was like, hey, remember when she had that one call up for the national team, and then nothing ever happened.
Random, but I'm, you know, random call up. But I think anytime you get a veteran player who has had success anywhere in any league and can bring something to the league, and people are excited about, that's A+.
Yep.
All right. I had written, anyone want to talk about the U.S. roster on here? I don't know if we have time for that, but if anyone wants to make like a quick, like not ranty comment on it, I have nothing to say because I've said it all on the Twitter already. So follow me there if you want to. Any quick comments on the roster? That, you know, right after we did the show last week. So
Yeah, because
Karen, go to Karen first, real quick. Anything you want to say about the roster? We can go a little bit longer today. It's okay. We'll just. We're nearing the end of our.
Just one sentence. Zerboni should be on the roster. McCall Zerboni should be on the roster. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Go ahead.
All right, Danielle.
Well, I was gonna go kind of that route as well. If you would have told me, you know, 4 years ago that I'd be upset she wasn't on the World Cup roster, I would have called you a liar and probably said really mean things to you because I'm a bad person. So. A very interesting life development for me. I think you know, I'm not going to rant. I even didn't rant on Twitter too much, but I think it was interesting. I am disappointed because, you know, I feel like Jill had said 2 years ago, this is my World Cup roster. She made sure to put people where they are. You know, this person is a permanent starter. They're now allocated or whatever. You know, this
subsidized, allocated, whatever we're calling it now.
Yeah.
these are my people. And then when the roster was announced, it went back to practically the last World Cup roster. So I just think that was interesting. I think that obviously there are players who I don't think should be there. But it is what it is. I just hope that not having McCall doesn't bite us in the ass, because I think
It sure could.
because I think our defense has been weak, and which is really weird to say. You know, Becky's not getting any younger. She can't cover a whole back line anymore. She could, but you know, she has been injured. She showed some cracks. I think that, you know, Dahl Kemper is a good player. I think that there's still mistakes being made, and you know, she hasn't, you know, going between her and Davidson, you know, hasn't been established. I think that both have made some errors, but I think both are good players. But where I'm getting at is I think there are situations where we'll need JJ to go help out on the back line. And what happens then? So I don't know. This is not me hating on Allie Long. I don't think that's where Allie Long belongs to cover that. That's not her natural position. We have one in the whole system, it seems like, and she's going to be playing for North Carolina this summer. So congrats, Courage fans. You won.
Right. And there's a tiny bit of me that is literally just like, please have like the most ballin' season for North Carolina.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I want her to do what Crystal Dunn did.
Yeah.
You remember what Crystal Dunn did in 2015?
Yep.
Crystal Dunn was a good player. She didn't get called up, and Crystal Dunn became phenomenal. Like, it was crazy what she did. So.
She just like took the league and just went like, bah, this is mine now. And that was what happened.
And again, if you would have told me 3-4 years ago that I'd be yelling about wanting McCall Zerboni to do this, that would have been, I wouldn't have believed you. I honestly wouldn't believe you.
A lot of people saying that, and I guess I'll just to wrap up on that note is, I felt bad when it happened to Dunn. Obviously, Dunn was a young player who got another chance to make it and made it this year. I don't see that happening for Zerboni. I don't see her getting another chance at this, you know, considering. So that kind of extra stings, I think, when you know someone deserves it and you know they're probably not going to get another chance.
Hopefully she'll be on the Olympic roster. I mean.
Right. All right. So wow, Frogger Chica really set us up here. In a comment a little while ago, she said, "Ordered my Sour Bun jersey today."
Frogger.
What a great segue to what's next on our list. And yeah, I know we're trying to keep it to like a half hour. We're gonna go a little longer today, and then I have to put, you know, I'll blow through the rest of it. But we got to talk about this real quick. The kits came out today, but like, what?
But they didn't.
But they quasi did if you get them from a third party, like Fanatics or something like that.
Which is the players are pushing it. So again, the players are having to do all the work.
Yep.
Basically, if you haven't been on the news today, jerseys were released. U.S. Soccer Shop, Nike not carrying like the red one in the men's, even though they say they were going to do that. And on those sites, you cannot customize the white one.
It's the red one. I don't think you can customize.
Oh, the red one.
One.
I didn't even think they had the red one, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, problems with men's cuts, problems with men cuts having 3 stars, problems with jerseys being customizable, kind of like everywhere. So, we're not super pumped. Again, people have found several different third-party sites, some which may actually be official resellers and whatnot and connected, but like, why should people have to do that? You know, if U.S. Soccer posts a link that says shop here and you can't get what you should get there, like, why do people have to go find it on their own is my only thing. And I'll go to Karen for her thoughts.
My thing is, there's this whole gender discrimination lawsuit that's going on, and U.S. Soccer is not helping themselves with this because they have had a 4-year period to figure this out, right? It's not like there's a World Cup every year. You have 4 years. You know that there's going to be a new kit, and you know that there's going to be a crap ton of people that want the new kit, and you know that they're going to want somebody's name on the back. And it's not just going to be women. It's going to be a whole lot of men, and it's going to be people who have different types of bodies that want men cuts, and it's going to be transgender people, and it's going to be non-binary people. and like you're not providing the product for people to buy, and you're going to lose money. And then they have this whole argument that the women's team doesn't make revenue, and it's like, yeah, because you're not putting the product there for people to buy. That's why. That is why. So stop it. So it was just like they're not helping themselves, because now like all the women's players have to do is be like, hey, remember like this happened less than a month before the World Cup, and people had to like literally find third-party websites, and we had to do all the work, like Danielle said, and we had to promote like where you could actually buy these jerseys and get them customized in men's cut. It's very stupid. It's very stupid, and like for me, and I try not to be like a conspiracy theorist, but it felt so stupidly purposeful, like that, like they were making it impossible for people to give money to the women's team, like on purpose. And you shouldn't be making people feel that way as a federation, like you're trying to tank your women's team. Like, stop it. Like, get your crap together. Like I said, you have 4 years to figure this out. So, like, be professional and do your jobs. Boom.
Danielle?
I mean, Karen said a lot of the stuff, and I mean, Karen and I were actually talking on Twitter today. I don't know if any of you follow. She made a good point of the fact that the body types thing, the, you know, non-binary, it's having a men's and women's cut, and women can only get the women's cut, is a very binary definition of gender. And, you know, for an organization that loves to pat themselves on the back every June for having rainbow numbers, that's kind of not okay. You know, I'm not okay with it. And, you know, even if, you know, going back to, you know, the binary things, I have a body that does not work in women's cuts. I have a sexist body who thinks I have childbearing hips and need to have a baby on one side and a laundry basket on the other, which not cool, but that's how my body is built. And I can't wear a women's cut. I can never, ever, ever wear a women's cut. And if I did, it would have to be above the XL, which is the highest size women's cut to go on Fanatics. I saw somebody pointed that out. I have to go like 3 sizes bigger if I want to go for women's cut. So, yeah, it's just they're making, again, assuming men don't like the team, which is BS. If you've ever been to a game, that hasn't been true probably ever. It's just a lie they've told us, and society has told us that men don't like women's sports, and it's time to get over that. I was going somewhere with this, so I'm going to continue talking with authority until I can figure out what I was going to say. With lots of women like men's cuts. It's comfortable. If I go with only women's cuts, there are going to be times where I have the boob cut, and I don't want that either. So I only ever do that. So I don't know. It's BS. It made me realize today that I don't think I've ever given money to U.S. Soccer, because I always get a men's cut through a soccer store. So it's probably always going to the men, and they wonder why the money's not there. Well, it's because I want stars on a men's cut. Sorry. So it's annoying. It's a World Cup year. I'm not the type of U.S. women's national team fan who likes to just constantly rag on the boys. I like the boys, but I will say the boys did not make a World Cup last year, meaning there was even extra time that they could have dedicated to it. You know, take it. I hate that we weren't in the World Cup last summer, but hey, there was time. There was time. So it's really annoying. And the last thing, kind of going back with Fanatics, is it seems like Fanatics is the one that the Players Association is working with, which is fantastic. I want them to work with where they're comfortable. But a lot of, not to go back into a stereotype, but there are a lot of young children who are fans, and their parents aren't like us on Twitter constantly reading. They're going to be like, oh, you want an Alex Morgan jersey? U.S. Soccer. So I yelled a lot. I don't know if it was I'm just really mad.
You're good.
You made some good points.
All good points. And just for the sake of it, I'm gonna blow through the rest of this stuff that we know. I realized I didn't even talk about next week's games.
No.
And just to let you know, we're trying really hard to keep these a little bit shorter this year, and we were doing really well. And then all this Jersey thing happened today, and then it just blew the whole it really blew the whole schedule. We were like, this is a nice tight show, and then it happened, and we were like, sugar.
One more thing.
Yes.
Not only with the lawsuit stuff that Karen was saying, but this is the day after the U.S. soccer attorneys basically rebutted the lawsuit and was like, nope, F you, nope, F you, F you, during the whole response. So it's the day after their lawyers were
right on. So forgive that. We had big news that we talked about. We were on track. I'm gonna blow through the rest of this stuff. Oh, Danielle still has another point to make. Sorry.
I know. I was looking at the thing. You were about to blow through the stuff, and so I was worried you were leaving from the USWNT section on our Google sheet because we are prepared this year.
I was going to, but go ahead and mention it.
Has the folded World Cup schedule you can sync to your phone. I'm assuming it was Thrace, because Thrace is the best person in the fandom. We all know it. Don't tell her I said it because I don't want to deal with her ego. You know her. Just kidding. Heart you.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up. And I am and people like the rant, so we're good. I don't care that we're a little bit long because people are liking it, so it's all good. Now I'm gonna leave this and blow through the rest of the stuff. So just player of the week, Aubrey Bledsoe. Boom. Goal of the week, again, very limited choices. Ohio took that one. Save of the week went to Aubrey Bledsoe, well deserved. Some attendance numbers, Utah still killing it, about 16,500. Woo, people were like, they're not going to sustain this past week one. Okay. Good to watch the rest of the season. Sky Blue versus North Carolina in North Carolina, 5,000 even with the threat of weather, and they actually had weather, I think. So rock on. Rain versus Washington at Soccerplex, 2,100. Again, they had weather too, so I don't know if that affected walk up or anything like that. They had some nasty stuff coming through, so keep an eye on that as well. Won't judge them either way for that yet. And then Orlando versus Houston in Houston, 41, closer to 4,200. So pretty solid, especially for weeks that the U.S. women's national team players were gone. So that's pretty solid for considering there's no national team players there. Rock on for that. And then just real quick, this week's games, Washington at Sky Blue on Saturday. Jen will be there. If you're going, say hello to Jen. She'll be at the game with her mom. So if you see her, say hello. Houston at Utah also on Saturday. Portland at Orlando on Saturday, and then North Carolina at Chicago on Sunday. I don't really have any. I feel like all those should really be good matches. I'm actually really excited about this weekend. I'm always excited to see soccer, but I feel like this weekend these matches seem really interesting, and I think that they're going to be really good. So hopefully everyone gets to watch this weekend. Is there anything that two of you want to talk about that we didn't touch on briefly to kind of close up the show? Danielle is chomping at the bit, maybe.
Well, because I wanted to go back real quick when it comes to attendance.
Go for it.
Oh, Michael just made a good point. Mother's Day, Sunday. There's also the national team game, which
thank you, Michael.
I probably won't get to watch because it's Mother's Day. But yes, good point. We're getting into that season. With attendance, I am going to be very interested in watching these numbers. If, I don't think all of us are necessarily positive about the summer with the national team, but if we do pull it off and, do well, I want to see where the numbers go after the World Cup. So that's always a very exciting part of a World Cup year, is watching that happen. So
for sure.
Right. Karen, any last thoughts?
No, I think we covered everything.
So thank you everyone for good comments on things. Thanks for checking in. Michael, thank you for reminding us about the women's national team. I actually didn't have that. We did not have that on our calendar, and I will make sure to keep an eye on that. They do have, I think, more games before they go off to the World Cup. So we'll remember to get those in there. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're still doing this 3 weeks in a row. Stay tuned. Follow our Twitter and Facebook to see when we're going to be on next.
Push alerts. Push alerts on your Twitter. That way you know.
Yes. Follow us. Put alerts on. Then you'll know. Thanks for watching. see you all next time around, and thanks for joining us. Appreciate y'all.
Bye.